Story 1. Physically a 5 out of 10. If I add personality, career, money, and so on, it would be a 1 out of 10. Story 2. Attractive enough for people I am not attracted to, but not attractive enough for people I am attracted to. Story 3. Most people find me unattractive. But my beautiful wife, for some unknown reason that I am eternally grateful for, finds me somewhat attractive. Story 4. Honestly, I'm about a 6.5 to 7. If I lost about 30 pounds, I could be an 8. Story 5. Pretty enough to get approached if I'm by myself or in a smaller group or with guy friends. Not so pretty that I'm the first one picked if I'm with all my girlfriends. Pretty enough that I get a fair amount of freebies and upgrades. Not so pretty that people are paying me to use or promote their products. It's a good level, I think. Life's pretty easy. Story 6. I think I'm pretty attractive. I'm a decent human, and I like that. Story 7. Honestly, compared to most, and considering the skin issues, many surgical scars, and polycystic ovary syndrome causing excessive hair growth, I probably look like a baboon's arse. I laugh out loud, but I'm not the type to get overly upset about it. I like to think my personality makes up for it a little, and I try to be considerate of others and help when I can. Story 8. I am about as attractive as a middle-aged, balding, overweight man who does not dress well. I am slightly below average, but I could reach average with a bit of effort. Story 9. As I get older, I become more attractive for my age, compared with other women in their mid-40s. I am very attractive and receive many glances from fathers. Story 10. According to my husband, I am a 7 out of 10, however, I think I am a 10 out of 10. Story 11. I have never been cocky or conceited, but I have always been told that I am very cute and handsome, so I would say a 5 or a 6. Story 12. I honestly have no idea. I cannot see myself clearly at all. Story 13. Put it this way, of 100 random people, 50 would say meh, 35 would say maybe, and the craziest fatal attraction type people among the remaining 15 would give me their house keys. Story 14. I think I look good, but apparently the number of women who truly want to date me, and not only be friends, is not as high as I thought. It may also be the melancholy I feel after the breakup with my ex-wife. We were together for 21 years, and I am 35 to give an idea. Story 15. I'd say I'm a strong 6. Being fully tattooed and over 2 meters seems to be what women look for, so I think others would rate me higher. My wife, though, is an 8 or 9. I look good until she steps into the same room. Story 16. Not at all, but I have decided to gaslight myself into believing otherwise for my mental health. Story 17. I have always been insecure about my looks. Growing up, it was often my friend who got the pretty girls, and I was kind of ignored. As I have gotten older, confidence and self-belief are things I did not have then but have now. Perhaps that adds to my score. I would say a 6, maybe a 7. Story 18. Like anyone else, my base daily level is completely plain. If I make an effort with clothes, hair, and skin, it might move the needle a bit, but overall I know that I'm not attractive. My base is 2 out of 10. With real effort, maybe 3.5 out of 10. Story 19. I would proudly rate myself a strong 5 to 6 out of 10, but because I have not had a girlfriend in 5 years, I feel like a 2 out of 10. Story 20. To me, my level of attractiveness decreased by 59% after pregnancy and having children. I don't recognize myself anymore. The sleep deprivation has taken its toll. Story 21. I say a 3. My wife says a 10. Realistically, a 7 for my build. Story 22. Just as attractive as the previous 100 times this question was asked this year. Story 23. It's distasteful to call yourself attractive unless you're lamenting about the problems it's causing you. Story 24. Frankly, I'm pretty damn good for a woman in my 40s. I have perky breasts and a soft, shapely backside. I can still play men like I have them on strings when I'm confident and use the softer things they like. I am covered in tattoos. All of that on an approximately 5 feet 8 inches, 150-pound body, last weighed at the doctor's office. Still a catch. Somewhat interested in how long I can stay that way. At some point, I'll probably retire from bars like I did clubs. but I'm not there yet. Story 25. They gave an award to everyone at my high school class dinner. I received the Most Handsome Boy award. Story 26. I honestly feel it depends on the day, maybe between 5 and 7. I usually hang around 5 to 6. 7 is for a day when I feel really good about myself, which is rare. Story 27. It is enough to believe the random women I meet when they tell me they are laughing out loud. Story 28. I would say 8 to 10. I could stand to lose some weight, but most of it is in my butt and thighs. Story 29. I used to be a 7, then a 4, then a 6, and now I am about a 5. Story 30. Even if I say a humbling number, it will still be low. 0.5. Story 31. I am slightly less attractive than I think, unfortunately. Story 32. 7 is fair. Maybe 7.5 if I bulked up a bit at the gym. Story 33. I think attractiveness depends largely on how much you shine as a person. You could have the best looks but a really bad attitude and an unattractive personality, and then your rating would plummet. You can often see some of that in first impressions. So I would say my attractiveness is moderate and has been rising this past year. There have been many positive changes. Story 34. Physically, I am probably an 8 out of 10. What raises that rating is my confidence, which I have worked on for years. I attract attention, including from my professors, who request me on social media, praise my success, and want to be near me. I also always have men buy me drinks when I am out. It is not just about looks, but how you dress, the aura you project, and confidence. Story 35. It is hard to say. Some days I feel like a 6, other days a 9. I am attractive enough that conventionally attractive people often ask for my phone number, so I cannot be that bad. Story 36. Personality 10 out of 10. For everything else I have no idea. If I had to guess, 3 to 5 out of 10. Story 37. 5 to 6. I never thought of myself that way. I have a wife and a family. That is all that matters. Story 38. Honestly, I do not know. Sometimes I think I am pretty cute and sometimes I am like, what the heck? Story 39. To be honest, I'm plenty happy in my own skin. You can do all sorts of things without needing to be attractive, such as hobbies, traveling, and the like. Story 40. Probably a 4 or 5. My face really brings it down. I've worked on my body a lot over the last few years and I'm really proud of that. But I'm pretty average otherwise. Story 41. I have been told I am a funny guy, so I have that going for me. Story 42. To a handful of people I'm a 10 out of 10. To others, probably more like a 7. Story 43. A solid 4 looks like wet concrete, but I attracted a 10 out of 10 goth girl who likes Hello Kitty and is taller and a bit older than me by being funny. I don't know how I did it. Don't ask. Story 44. Appearance-wise, I'm probably a 5 out of 10. I'm pretty average, to be fair. Story 45. I think I give cute next-door vibes. I feel like I downgraded my look after cutting my hair into a pixie. My hair used to be slightly longer than shoulder length. Now it is almost shoulder length as I grow it out, and I have gained 10 kilograms. I am not beautiful at all, but kinda cute, I guess. Story 46. I would say maybe a 4 out of 5 for pure physicality, and a solid 6 or 7 when you add personality. I'm not saying that to boast. I assume most people feel attraction after we've established a friendship, for good reason. Story 47. 10 out of 10, but I think the majority of people have poor taste. No one even bothers to treat me with respect or kindness. Story 48. Maybe a 4. People don't run when they see me. I'm a bit pudgy and asymmetrical, and I never learned how to apply makeup. Story 49. Slightly above average, around 6 to 7. It's mostly because I'm 6 feet 3 inches and work out. Story 50. I'm probably a 6. I don't think I'm bad looking. I lost a lot of weight, and now I'm just kind of average, 160 pounds at 19 years old. I have no muscle, so it's not bad but not good. Story 51. I'm not ugly enough to make someone throw up, so that's nice. My boyfriend tells me I'm pretty, but he's colorblind. Story 52. People call me handsome. I'm so paranoid. I don't know if they're joking. Story 53. I don't compare myself to other people. On a personal scale, me versus me, I improved from a solid 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 after 14 years of working out, building confidence, experiencing ego death, rediscovering my authenticity, and engaging in healing and therapy. Story 54. 7 out of 10 when accounting for my sense of humor. -3 out of 10 otherwise. I scare myself when I look in the mirror. Story 55. To be honest, based on the problems it has caused me throughout life, I would say I am a 9 to 9.5. Story 56. I don't like to brag, but I don't think I look terrible. I'd say 5 out of 10. Just yesterday I shaved my head, and my best friend asked if I was the one who knocks. Apparently I look like Walter White now. Story 57. Not at all, but I've stopped caring, which is kind of nice. Story 58. How does this question make it to the top of AskReddit every day? Jesus. Story 59. I would rate myself 6 to 6.5 out of 10. I used to be a 7 before I got older and less fit. I probably peaked at 7.5 for about 19 minutes 20 years ago. Story 60. I actually do not know, but some people randomly told me to try modeling, so I think it must mean something. Story 61. 6.5 to 7. I am soft-spoken and easy on the eyes at least. Story 62. I would say a 6, maybe a 7. He is not ugly, but not the best-looking guy on the planet. Laughing out loud. Story 63. Above average, but not supermodel level. Middle-aged in years, but not in appearance. Flabby and soft, with great style. I am hilarious, which easily raises me from a 6 to an 8. I do not want to be attractive. I want to be intimidating, but I am 5 feet 3 inches, so that is unlikely. Story 64. I am very handsome, and many people can see it. I will be much better once I finish my degree and enter the corporate world. Story 65. Very good genes and a lot of work. Not invasive, just topical. It's still in the eye of the beholder, so if you are staunchly against beards and tattoos, that will take off a couple of points. I'm not, obviously, so to me I'm hot. Story 66. I'm not very attractive at all, but my wife tells me I am. I'm inclined to believe her, the cute little bean. Story 67. I feel like I'm a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, but if you're into really handsome eyes and nice hands, I'm an 8.5, apparently. I'm funny and a proactive listener. I make people feel heard in a sincere way. Story 68. Based on looks alone, I'm a 3 or 4, but I'm also 6 feet 4 inches tall. I've developed a personality over the years and have a fairly large penis, so overall I'm about a 6. Story 69. I used to be about an 8. I could have been a 10, but I did not have enough muscle and had skinny arms. Nowadays I am about a 5 because of the gray hair, the extra 10 pounds around my stomach, and erectile dysfunction. I am old. Story 70. 4 out of 10. I have had several very attractive girlfriends in the past and have no idea what attracted them to me. Story 71. 4 out of 10. It becomes obvious when I'm with my more attractive friends and family. Story 72. 10 out of 10. I don't care what you look like. It's all about vibrations. Attractive does not equal good looking. Story 73. I will gladly accept a 6 for looks because my sparkling charm earns that rating. Story 74. Physically, I am an 8 out of 10. In terms of personality, I like myself, but to most people I would be a 5 out of 10 because of my autism, rambling, and fear of intimacy. Story 75. A solid 10, but the scale goes to 100, so that doesn't help. Story 76. Given my track record of relationships and matches, I would rate it 4 out of 10. Story 77. I have no idea. I have a wife who fawns over me, and I notice women turning in their seats or staring at me when I enter a room. Her friends think I'm attractive, and members of my staff who know me often hit on me. But I have no way to measure my attractiveness because many factors are at play. I'd say I'm a 5 based on observable evidence, but unless you're a 1, 2, 9, or 10, no one really knows where they rank. Story 78. Personally, I would rate myself 6 out of 10, but people around me and my interactions with women rate me 2 out of 10. Story 79. A nice, solid 6, maybe 7. I feel good about myself, but I know I'm not drop dead. Story 80. I would say 6 to 7, maybe 7.5 on a good day, but my friends disagree. Story 81. I was attractive when I was young, so I was used to everyone looking at me. Now I'm heavier and older. I'm single, 48, have a good job, and am financially stable. I would like to meet someone, and I'm not hung up on looks because personality is more attractive. I like nerdy things too. Story 82. In a room of 10 people, 5 are more attractive than I am and 5 are less attractive. I am doing pretty well if you ask me. Story 83. 5 out of 10. I could pass for a background object easily. No one has ever tried to be with me. People do not feel uncomfortable in my presence. Story 84. Let's just say I'm not everyone's type, but I'm definitely someone's favorite bad decision. Story 85. I was a 7 out of 10, then I went through twink death. Now I am a 5 out of 10, trying to regain my 7 out of 10 through bodybuilding. Story 86. I think my face is about 7 out of 10, my hair about 3 out of 10, and my body maybe 2 out of 10. Not counting that I am kind of short, so overall I might be 3 or 4 out of 10. Story 87. Possibly a 6. My features are fairly even with nothing sticking out. I look much better with a beard, which raises me from a 5. I'm tall and in fair shape, and I'm comfortable that no one has ever looked at me and said yum, apart from my wife, who is weird. Story 88. I am a 50-year-old man. I get a lot more attention from women now than I ever have. It is crazy. I would say I am 7 out of 10. I am happily married to an amazing woman, so I would never act on these approaches. Single men in their 50s must be having so much fun. Story 89. Enough to cause a little trouble, not enough to get away with it. Story 90. It is enough to get a girl, but if I get a model, she will just use me until I cannot spoil her anymore. Story 91. I would say maybe 6 to 7, especially after I lost 30 pounds this year. I am with a man who acts like I am a 10, so that is nice. Story 92. Based on looks, I don't know, maybe a 4 out of 10. I'm Filipino, not very good looking, even by our standards. Personality-wise, probably a 6 out of 10. Story 93. I'm probably about average. I do try to look my best, though, laughing out loud. Story 94. It depends on the point of view, whether from a man or a woman. I wish women would be interested in me the way some men are. Story 95. I think I am the kind of attractive person that superficial people do not like to admit they are attracted to. Story 96. I am really bad at rating myself because sometimes I feel like I am a 0 out of 10. But there are days when I feel like a 10 out of 10 too. Story 97. I am a woman. I don't believe anyone has ever expressed sexual interest in me before I expressed sexual interest in them. However, I have talked my way into several satisfying relationships and have been married for 19 years. So maybe 3 for looks and 8 for personality. Story 98. Genuinely a disgusting, hideous beast. Negative 10 out of 10. Story 99. I like to think that people will look past my appearance and judge me based on my personality, which is awful. Story 100. I have mediocre looks, a weird style, an off-putting personality, and many issues, so I will say I appeal to a small, specific audience. Story 101. Physically, I think I am 6 out of 10. Personality, 9 out of 10. However, my girlfriend makes me feel like I am a 10 out of 10. She is awesome. Story 102. I am average looking, but people are more themselves around me. We smile and laugh together. Story 103. I am very attractive in nightclubs, especially in dimly lit places, like Brad Pitt at his peak. Story 104. I have been told I am pretty by my students and older people. They are not really my age group, but I take what I can get. Story 105. I see myself as a 5. I don't consider myself very attractive, even though I receive compliments. Generally, I don't accept compliments because people view beauty differently, and I suspect they are not completely honest. Story 106. Not at all. I'm not putting myself down. I would not say I'm the ugliest person on the planet, but I'm not attractive. To be honest, I would not want to be attractive. The pressure people feel to keep their looks must be so immense, and I'm glad to be out of it. I am a really good and kind person, and I am quite comfortable with who I am. Story 107. I feel like I have gone from a 3 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10 as I have aged, now almost 40 years old. I think that may just be caring less about what others think and having more confidence in being myself. Story 108. For my age, 42, I am in good shape from years of athletics. I have a full head of hair and all my teeth. I would rate myself a 7 out of 10, potentially higher when I compare myself to my overweight, out-of-shape peers. Unfortunately, my personality is poor. Story 109. I often feel like a 5 out of 10, but I get compliments on my outfits, hair, and eyes, so without my self-esteem I am probably a 6 or 7. Either way, I am not a stunner. Story 110. I am human, fairly proportional, and my communication skills are average. May out of 10. Story 111. It depends on how I feel. Sometimes I see myself as the hottest, most underrated person, and other times I wonder how anyone could be attracted to me. Most of the time I feel pretty average, like 4.5 to 6 out of 10. I actually have a whole glow-up plan I never followed through on. If I had, I am pretty sure I would be at least 8 to 9 out of 10. Story 112. I used to be a 2, but now that I have gotten myself together, I am a 5 or 6. Story 113. Physically, maybe a 7 since I go to the gym. Socially, I am more like a 4 because I am an introvert who loves gaming, anime, and playing the piano. I am in my last year of medical school and hope to be a cardiologist, so I am not sure where to place myself. Overall, I would say 5 or 6. Story 114. 8 out of 10 on a good day when considering my wealth, health, both mental and physical, status, personality, skills, and prospects. Story 115. As an older woman, I think I'm attractive for my age. Sadly, no one else thinks so. Story 116. For sure, 10 out of 10. You should love and respect yourself. Story 117. I am about a 6 out of 10. I think I could go up by 2 or even 3 points once I lose a lot of weight. Story 118. People tell me I am the most beautiful man they have ever seen. So you tell me. Story 119. Based on the number of times women have flirted with me, which is 0, I am not attractive at all. Story 120. I'm not a model, but I am popular on dating apps and people often stare at me. At the very least, I am average in physical appearance. Personality is harder to judge, but I have more evidence that mine is good than that it is not. Story 121. I have cultivated a style that makes me a 3 out of 10 to most people, about a 7 to a few people, and a 10 to the one person I actually want to impress. Story 122. Enough to attract attention, but not the attention of those I want. Story 123. Physically, 7.3 out of 10. Including my job, my dog, and my apartment, I'm 8.4 out of 10. Story 124. 7 de cada 10. De vez en cuando me hacen cumplidos o suelo recibir más atención que otras personas, sin intención de mi parte. Story 125. With makeup, you can look pretty and may make a few heads turn. Without makeup, you may look very average. Story 126. I think I am an 8 on a normie scale where 10 is possible. I am in the top 1 to 3%. Story 127. On average, I try my best to be healthy and dress well. Story 128. As it stands right now, I think I am a 5 at best, but if I lost some weight, I might be a 6. Story 129. On my good days, I do not look like Frankenstein, so I suppose I am a 5 out of 10. Story 130. About 4 times. I ended up with a boyfriend because of it, and I occasionally go on dates with other people, but I am never approached first, you know. Story 131. I get the whole package comment a lot, but I think maybe 7.5. Story 132. I'm currently a 3 to 4 with my psoriasis, but luckily I'm on systemic therapy. In a few months, when this clears, I think I'll be a 7. Story 133. Depende. En personalidad, un 6 o 7 de 10. En lo físico no acompaña, así que sería un 5 de 10. Story 134. It depends on where I am. If I'm at Walmart, I'm a 9. If I'm at a fashion show, I'm a 5, maybe a 6. If it were 10 years ago, that would be a different story. Story 135. I am a 6 out of 10 with the confidence of a 12 out of 10. That is an average of 9 out of 10. Story 136. I do not know, but given how little action I have had in life, probably not much. Story 137. I am somewhere between John C. Riley and Travis Fimmel. Story 138. Throughout my life, strangers have gone out of their way to compliment my looks. I know it is random, but I have often been embraced romantically and professionally based initially on my appearance. It is not fair. I did nothing to earn it, but I would be lying otherwise. That said, I have had to work incredibly hard to compensate for my good looks. When people give you something for free, you can feel you never earned it, or worse, that you do not deserve it. So I developed myself, cultivated a well-lived life, and tried to build inner beauty to match my exterior. I often feel propelled and uplifted by the positivity and attention I receive for being handsome. It reminds me to compliment and be kind to others. I am constantly reminded of the healing and elevating power this gift provides. Being mindful to pay it forward doubles the gift. Story 139. I do not care at all about this, but I find the answers very interesting. How do people perceive the scale? 5 is probably not considered average by most people. Story 140. I do not think I am attractive. I always consider myself average, and that does not bother me because I am okay with it. I dislike attention and people flirting anyway. Story 141. Realistically, I am a 6, but I operate as if I am a 10 because what is the point in being sad about not being perfect? I used to hate myself, but I recently realized that it is the media and society trying to get me to buy products and to achieve the impossible task of being desirable to every person with a penis, as if whether some random passerby becomes aroused matters. There is so much that is right about me, things that I love. I am healthy and muscular with long legs. I have a natural nose other girls would pay for, a curvy, shapely body, large breasts, long thick black hair, thick eyelashes and natural black eyebrows, hazel almond-shaped eyes, wide hips, feet that are size 3 in the United Kingdom, which is United States size 5, delicate hands with fingers longer than the palms, and healthy nails with white tips. The only things wrong with me are that I have thin lips and a narrow mouth, a slightly underdeveloped jaw, and I am 5 feet tall and muscular but not lean, so I can look a bit stocky. Without muscle, I cannot eat very much and I feel ill all the time. Because I am very short with 40-inch hips and a short torso, there is no physical space for my waist to snatch in. Even when I was anorexic, my waist measured 28 inches. I will never have a tiny waist. I cannot change these things without thousands of dollars in surgery. I am completely healthy and very fit. So what is really wrong with having thin lips? Story 142. I am overweight because of polycystic ovary syndrome, but men and British women still look at me and may flirt with me when they talk to me, so I guess I am all right. Story 143. Solid middle-range farm boy with curly hair and a stick figure build. 6 out of 10. Story 144. I've ranged from oh god, no to I don't care where, just do me. I have enough to potentially have a shot, but I also know that rejection sucks. Story 145. Appearance. As male, 3. I did not tend to take care of myself or bother with anything. As female, 5 or 6, with makeup and style. Solid 7 if someone has a preference for trans women. Not much competition. Personality. Solid 10 if you meet me once and for less than an hour. Solid 2 if you know me for longer than an hour. Story 146. Realistically, I am probably a 3 or 4 out of 10. That could improve if I wear a wig and makeup. But it does not matter because I have an amazing partner who makes me feel secure for the first time in my 34 years of mostly feeling like a zombie. Story 147. Some days I think I'm pretty hot. Other days I feel like a goblin. Story 148. I am a solid 4 to most people. Occasionally, though, a small number of women think I am the sexiest man alive, and I will never understand it. Story 149. I am a 27-year-old male. I think I am physically a 5 to 6 out of 10. I am currently working on myself after a long period of depression and I am healing. Personally, I rate myself about 7 out of 10. I do not have many friends, but I have known them for over 13 years. I have qualities that many women might appreciate. I am hardworking. I like to solve problems and to talk through issues. I give advice to people and it usually helps. I am honest and have nothing to hide. I do not smoke and I do not drink alcohol. I have a passionate interest in everything related to motorbikes. I built my own shop and I make a living doing what I love. Story 150. I am a 9 out of 10. I receive a lot of compliments and think I look very good and have a good personality. Story 151. Genuinely, right now I'm a 4 on a good day. I really let myself go recently. I stopped caring for my skin, hair, and beard, so the dandruff got worse, my beard looks scraggly, and my hair is in bad shape. I also stopped going to the gym for a few months, so I lost a lot of the muscle I had gained and put on weight. All in all, I am a mess. Thankfully, I have been through this before, so I know I can come back with work, maybe even better. The strange thing is that when I let myself go, I look really bad. But if I take care of myself for the next year, thanks to a few good genes such as good bone structure, high cheekbones, thick curly hair, and blue eyes, I could probably get to an 8. That would mean letting my hair grow out and using anti-dandruff treatments and conditioner, shaping my beard, taking care of my skin with sunscreen and moisturizer, getting back to the gym to rebuild muscle, and reaching a healthier weight. I will take a year to focus on self-care so my future self can be proud of my appearance. For anyone else in a bad state, remember it just takes time. Take the time you need. There is no rush. Work on yourself. You do not need to become perfect, just good enough to regain some confidence. There is a better future waiting. Update. I have seen others mention personality. I had not even thought to mention it, and I am not sure how much it changes my rating, but people have told me I am funny, easy to talk to and vibe with, and that I have a strong personality. I have also been called nonchalant. Some say that is a good thing, others do not. I have no clue if that affects attractiveness. I never liked that word though, especially because of how people use it nowadays. Story 152. I am not attractive at all, and to be honest, I do not give a damn what others think. I am happy, and that is all that counts. Why would you need to know this? Story 153. I'd say a 6 out of 10. Slightly above average if I put effort into my appearance, but I am not the prettiest person in the room, laughing out loud. I do have some great nerdy tattoos, though. That is how I hooked my fiancée. We started talking about ink, and the rest is history. Story 154. Honestly, I am not a good-looking man. I have neglected myself because of depression, and now I am getting old. I am exhausted and worn out. I have bags under my eyes, and my wisdom teeth cause me constant pain. If you look into my eyes, you can see pain and fatigue. Story 155. I used to think I was a 6 to 6.5 out of 10 until I went through a phase where I was a 4 to 5 out of 10 and noticed a sharp difference in how people treated me. When my looks improved, I compared how people treated others I considered 6 out of 10 with how they treated me and realized I'm probably much higher, maybe an 8 out of 10. There is a very subtle but noticeable difference in how people treat those who are attractive and those who aren't. Story 156. I think I am attractive in my own way. I am not conventionally attractive, but many people find me very appealing. Story 157. Are you speaking physically only, or overall? I am extremely funny, 10 out of 10. Story 158. No one said I am ugly or attractive. I guess I am average. 5 out of 10. Story 159. I think I am around a 7 out of 10. The only person who ever compliments my looks is my mom. My sisters, however, do not compliment my looks even though I often compliment theirs. A few boys had mild crushes on me in elementary school, but in middle and high school I was never asked out. That was probably because I was very quiet. I think I am a 10 out of 10 when my hair is curled and I am wearing a dress. Story 160. I am somewhat overweight and a little funny looking, and worst of all, I have the personality of a wet rag. I do have an average-sized penis though, so that is at least a plus. Story 161. Honestly, I trained for 8 months and got into really good shape with an almost visible six-pack. I would give myself an 8 out of 10. It is crazy how attractive and better looking I became. I think it was also because I drank a lot of water daily and ate only healthy food. But now I have gained some weight again and I would rate myself 5 out of 10. By the way, I am 188 centimeters tall and weigh 101 kilograms. Story 162. I think that I am average to above average depending on the beholder. I am definitely not ugly or a model. Story 163. Somewhere between calling someone ugly and telling them to stop making that hideous face at my child. Story 164. I don't know, 7 out of 10, maybe. I definitely don't believe I am one of the most beautiful or pretty people, but I think I am all right. On a bad day, though, I feel like 1 out of 10. Story 165. I think that, considering everything except my face, it would be 8 or 9 out of 10. With my face, I am most likely about 6 out of 10. Story 166. Honestly, I wish I could upload a photo. I am giving myself a 4 out of 10, and I am being generous to myself. If anyone wants their own opinion of me, just ask. I will send a photo. Story 167. Most of the people I dated treated me as if I were a 7 out of 10, and it always made me feel out of place. Story 168. I have heard that I have a great personality, and I can make people laugh easily. By Sweet Valley High standards, I am not even close to looking as good as my friends. Story 169. I think I am pretty. My mother raised me to have confidence, and I am due any day now with a baby girl. I really hope to raise her the same way. The world makes it easy to feel insecure and pressured by beauty standards. Story 170. I would rate myself a solid 7. I can present myself as an 8, though. My personality is strong, and I am satisfied with that. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.